In the news, Supreme Court upholds judgment on Imo governorship election. Nigeria quarantines Chinese nationals suspected of contracting COVID-19. And gloomy day for US as 8 die in tornado. A warm welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. We begin with the judgment of the Supreme Court dismissing the application of Emeka Ihedioha, which sought a review of the court's February 14 judgment. The Apex Court had in January declared Hope Uzodinma of the All Progressives Congress the duly elected governor of the state. It subsequently sacked Ihedioha and ordered INEC to issue a fresh certificate of return to the APC candidate. Not satisfied with the judgment, Ihedioha approached the court demanding that it should review the judgment. Ruling on the matter on Tuesday, a panel of judges led by Ibrahim Muhammad, Chief Justice of Nigeria, dismissed the application, saying the ruling of the court is final. However, Chima Chinweze, one of the judges of the 7-man panel, disagreed with the judgment on grounds that the February 14 verdict be set aside. Justice Nweze held that the court has the power to overrule itself in a situation where such a judgment was not seen to have met the justice of the case. But with majority of the judges supporting the dismissal of the case, the matter was thrown out by the Apex Court. Health officials in Lagos State have quarantined a Chinese national shortly after he arrived in the country via an Ethiopian airline plane. The Commissioner for Health in Lagos State, Akin Abayomi, disclosed this to reporters on Tuesday. The Chinese citizen was accosted at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport after he was made to go through the mandatory screening for those coming into the country. He was thereafter moved to the Lagos State Isolation Center, where he was being tested for the novel coronavirus. However, the result of the test has yet to be established. Meanwhile, the state government has revealed that the Italian national currently in isolation has remained the only positive case of the coronavirus in Nigeria. It added that more than 100 people who had contacted or come in contact with the index case were also being monitored by health experts. Meanwhile, lawmakers at the House of Representatives have expressed worry over the spread of the coronavirus COVID-19 into Nigeria, resolving to suspend plenary for 2 weeks to prevent it from spreading to the National Assembly. The resolution, which was part of the prayers of a motion moved by Josiah Idem at plenary on Tuesday, was unanimously adopted. Minority Leader Ndudi Elumelu particularly made the additional prayer to the motion that the lawmakers adjourn for 2 weeks to allow adequate preparation for the disease at the National Assembly complex. The lawmakers also advised on enlightenment and sensitization of Nigerians on how to prevent the spread of the disease.
The House resolved to 1. Mandate the leadership of the National Assembly to set up an ad hoc committee to interface with executive, health agencies and institutions with a view to overcoming and eliminating the dreaded novel coronavirus recently brought into the country. 2. Urge the federal government to release more emergency funds and create enabling environments and support to the Federal Ministry of Health and other health agencies and institutions in a bid to completely overcome and eliminate the threat of the novel coronavirus.
This House should suspend plenary for a period of 2 weeks or thereabout, for the purpose of certifying everybody and also allowing management to put measures in place so that all of us can be tested, because we may be taking it as a very joking matter, but it's a very serious matter.
There should be awareness of how to clean our environment and to take proper care. If you take note of any symptoms, there are symptoms of the coronavirus. Once we notice the symptoms, how to make sure that the person involved is being taken proper care of. And also, Mr. Speaker, I would like us to take our campaign and awareness, especially to the rural places.
The gentleman told us here, which was done more than a month ago, in this country that there are only 2 control centers. One in Lagos, one in Abuja. That of Abuja, we were told, is less than 30% completion. Even the one in Lagos, the same man was challenged by a honorable member that it was not built by the Federal Republic of Nigeria, by the government of Nigeria. That place was constructed and equipped by the Lagos State government. So apparently, Nigeria is standing at 0.
Religious centers have also been taking measures to contain the spread of the coronavirus. Following the first case of the disease reported in Lagos State, the Catholic Church has approved new worship directives as a precautionary measure to prevent the spread of the disease. Part of the measures include a suspension of handshaking during Mass as a sign of peace. The Catholic Archbishop of Lagos, who gave the orders, says the decision became necessary to keep members from contracting and spreading the deadly virus in Lagos, considering its metropolitan status. Our correspondent visited the Sacred Heart Catholic Church, Ogudu, to speak to the parish priest and also observe the level of adherence to the new rules issued by the Archbishop.
First and foremost, he asked us to remove all holy water containers, fonts, to remove water from them so that people don't use it as a public thing. Because normally, if you are coming into the church, you dip your hand in the holy water font and make the sign of the cross on your forehead, the chest and the shoulders. That he first told us to suspend until further notice. Secondly, communion that is normally given to the people through their mouth is now received on the palm. The communion is consecrated, placed upon your palm, and you take it yourself and put in your mouth. That's another measure that has been taken. Thirdly, the Stations of the Cross we normally have twice in a week during Lent. That's Wednesdays and Fridays. He has decided to make it once, which is on Friday. Then on Wednesday, people are supposed to do it privately to avoid crowd. In our own little way here, we have tried to provide hand sanitizers at the doors of the church, so that if you are coming in, you just place your hand under the hand sanitizer, it drops on your hand and you rub it in before you get into the church. That's in our own small way of making sure that we adhere strictly to what the Archbishop has asked us to do.
And to security matters now, 2 people have been killed while some others sustained varying degree of injuries as gunmen attacked a Galawa village of Bagwai local government area in Kano State. The attack was confirmed by the state police public relations officer Abdullahi Haruna, who says operatives of Operation Pawfadder have been deployed to the area to track and apprehend the gunmen. Meanwhile, the Commissioner for Police in the state, Habu Sani, says the gunmen are armed robbers who stormed a shop where recharge cards were being sold. He added that 4 people were injured and are receiving treatment. The attack is coming hours after a similar one in neighboring Kano State left no fewer than 51 people killed. Suspected gunmen have abducted a Catholic priest identified as David Echioda in Otukpo area of Benue State. The priest of Otukpo Catholic Diocese was kidnapped along Allah Akbar Road while returning from Sunday Mass in Ado local government area of the state. His abduction was confirmed by the Benue State Police spokesperson Catherine Anene on Tuesday. The police have now deployed a team of officers charged with ensuring his release. President Muhammadu Buhari has received newly posted Ambassador of Greece to Nigeria, Aonis Platos. Platos came to formally present his letters of credence to Buhari. However, much of the interface between the president and the envoy took place behind closed doors. Buhari also received the envoys of Cuba and Equatorial Guinea on a similar mission to present their letters of credence to him. Osun State Governor Oyetola has approved the reversal of the single school uniform reclassification of the public school system and the abolition of the single-sex schools introduced in 2013 by his predecessor, Rauf Arigbeshola. These reversals were approved during the State Executive Council meeting in Osogbo. All the reverse policies will take effect from the next academic session. Briefing journalists after the council meeting on Monday, the State Commissioner for Information, Funke Egbemode, said the state considered 10 of 26 recommendations by a panel set up to review education policies of the past administration. Egbemode said Oyetola reversed 9 of the policies outrightly, while the Okpon Imo education tablet would be enhanced and reintroduced to schools. Nigeria is experiencing a heat wave at the moment, with temperatures soaring as high as 35 degrees Celsius in some parts of the country. The extreme heat has been in place since February, with the Nigerian Meteorological Agency NIMET warning of even hotter days. On this backdrop, public health practitioner Tuyi Mebawondu has been highlighting the possible dangers posed by this weather, while also recommending preventive measures.
The critical thing that we have to be wary of is excess water loss, excess salt loss, leading to heat stroke and fainting attacks. So that is what the public needs to, both during the day and night. People sweat a lot, and a lot of water is lost from their body. And for people who have some other diseases, like diabetes, it can aggravate some of the conditions in their body. Some people on drugs for hypertension can aggravate some of these conditions because of the additional water loss from the body. So for us, we need to pay attention to the fluid balance. We need to wear light clothes so as to reduce the extent of sweating. We need to increase our intake of water. We need to increase our intake of fruits and vegetables to ensure that our body remains in a good balance. The weather tends to promote a lot of dusty environment, which can lead to respiratory infection. So sometimes if you're in a dusty environment, you may have to cover your nostrils with face masks, or even use wet handkerchief to wipe your face to reduce the quantity of dust that can go into your system. So these are critical things that must be done.
The West Africa Examination Council, WAEC, has released the final result for the first series of its 2020 Senior Secondary Certificate Examination for private candidates. According to the examination body, only 32% of the 12,035 candidates who sat for the examination obtained credit and above in 5 subjects, including mathematics and English language. The West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination for private candidates is conducted in 2 series. The first series happens between January to February, while the second is from August to September of every year. This next report has that story. After 30 days of waiting, results for the first series of the 2020 WAEC examination has now been released. At this press conference, head of the Nigerian National Office gives a breakdown of candidates' performance, noting an improvement from the previous series.
9,438 candidates, representing 78.16%, obtained credit and above in 2 subjects. 8,125 candidates, representing 67.29%, obtained credit and above in 3 subjects, while 6,713 candidates, representing 55.59%, obtained credit and above in 4 subjects, and 5,251 candidates, representing 43.49%, obtained credits and above in any 5 subjects. A total of 3,892 candidates, representing 32.23%, obtained credits and above in a minimum of 5 subjects, including English language and general mathematics.
But not everyone will be able to access their results at this moment. Candidates suspected to have indulged in varying forms of malpractice would have to wait until they are cleared by an investigative panel.
The cases are being further investigated, and reports of the investigation will be presented to the appropriate committee of the Council in due course for consideration. The committee's decision will be communicated to the affected candidates subsequently.
Since the start of the private candidate series, WAEC certificates had only been obtainable from the National Office of the Examination Body, but the good news is that candidates can now request and receive their results online.
Beginning with the WASC for Private Candidate 2020 first series, the collection of certificates will be based on requests by candidates online via the Electronic Certificate Management System platform. In order for this to be done seamlessly, WAEC have entered into a partnership with the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST. Therefore, using the expedited mail delivery service of NIPOST, candidates can, upon application and require payments done online, have their certificates delivered to them in any state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, irrespective of where they sat the examination.
After announcing the results, the examination body unveiled an ultra-modern human resource management department and a staff residential complex in the Yaba and the Ikeja areas of Lagos State. This is geared towards improving service delivery and welfare of the Commission staff. Fidelia Aguncha, TV360, Lagos. Well, news now will continue in just a moment. Don't go away.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Let's now talk business with Oyin Adekunle. Hello, Oyin.
Hi, Fidelia.
So I can see that this coronavirus is also affecting the business world, especially the oil market. Could you bring us more details on this?
You're very correct, Fidelia. Nigeria is on the verge of experiencing yet another budget deficit in the year 2020 as global oil prices continue to drop below the benchmark of $57 a barrel. The outbreak of the deadly novel coronavirus have forced global oil price to drop as the world continues to record an increasing death toll. On Tuesday, Brent crude recorded a drop by $53.46 a barrel, recording a $4 decrease to Nigeria's benchmark. Analysts have, however, been reacting to these figures, and we have more in this next report.
With dissipated demands owed to the outbreak of the epidemic coronavirus, oil prices have plunged into the bear market. This is particularly no good news for Nigeria as its 2020 budget is under a threat of deficit since the global oil price dropped below its benchmark of $57 a barrel. Analysts have said the sustained decrease in the oil price will have a significant effect on the budget funding.
Oil and gas revenues, especially foreign exchange, constitute a very large part of our income and revenue reflected in the budget. So definitely the impact will be direct, the deficit will be impacted, and the capacity of government to reduce expenditure is limited because most of the revenue expenditures which are funded from the budgets cannot be significantly reduced. We cannot reduce salaries, we cannot reduce recurrent expenditures for most of our institutions below certain fixed levels. There is even the pressure for meeting the minimum wage, which means that in fact expenditures are rising throughout now to the end of the year to meet the minimum wage and several other programs that government has committed. So it's a very direct impact on our deficits if it is sustained for more than 2 or 3 months.
Lower oil prices may force the Central Bank of Nigeria to devalue one of the world's most stable currencies, since negative terms of the trade shock drives down the real exchange rate. But analysts is having a counter-opinion on this notion.
The impact on the foreign exchange itself may not be as high as generally speculated, because right now the diaspora earnings are about 2 or 3 times higher than the foreign currency earning from oil and gas. So that is not devaluation is not the primary concern. Devaluation is more the concern about the revenue of the federal government. That is where the decline in oil prices will be heavily impacted. But with or without oil, we have very significant inflows that continue to rise actually from diaspora remittances. We also have foreign direct investments that continue to be stable or rise irrespective of the oil prices.
With the looming impacts the epidemic virus has had on the global economy, there are fears that Nigeria may slip into recession due to its heavy dependence on importation.
The factors that led to our recession are much more complex than just an incident like the coronavirus. There are a large number of factors that led to the recession. A number of those factors have been addressed. The current foreign exchange regime that essentially lies on the investment and exporters window for foreign exchange means that we do not face a direct foreign currency risk that will impact the whole economy.
As the epidemic coronavirus continues to spread across the world, despite travel bans, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, has lowered global GDP forecast to 2.4%, the lowest since the 2008 financial crisis. Adishawa Dushoga, TV360, Lagos.
We'll take a break here and return with stock market review. Please stay tuned. The Nigerian Stock Exchange surged over 339 points on the second trading session for the month of March, amid hopes that the government is taking efforts to ease the anxiety from the coronavirus outbreak. Crucial market indicators were down 1.53% in previous session, but as at the close of trading today, the figure surged and the market made a rebound of 1.70%. Similarly, investors gained 232 billion naira as market cap closed at 13.681 trillion naira. And major components traded on a positive note generally in the market, and top gainers included Nestle, which is actually recovering from losses from previous session. And Nestle is traded by MTN Nigeria, whose share price increased by 5 naira to close at 115 naira per share. Equities in the financial services sector also posted significant gains, as we see Guarantee and Zenith Bank closing the list of 4 advances with a combined 3 naira and 35 kobo gain. And of course, we also had losers in the market today despite the gains, with the park led by Okomo Oil recording a decline of 6 naira 60 kobo. BUA Cement also traded negative in the market today, ending the market on a negative note as well. We have Dangote Sugar and Mansard. And in summary, a total of 387.895 million units of shares were traded, and investors traded equities worth 5 billion naira, down from 6 billion in last session, and that sum was realized in the exchange from 4,901 deals. And good day for investors on the NSE, no doubt, but let's see if the general mood, if this was the general mood globally. And here we have it. Global equities rallied on hopes of stimulus from global policymakers to lessen the impact of coronavirus on their economies. And that's ahead of the talks between G7 finance ministers and central bank heads. FTSE and Dow are both rising, but sadly, Japan's Nikkei is down, losing 1.22% to finish at 21,082 basis points. And that's it from here. It's back to you now, Fidelia.
Well, thank you very much, Oyin, for that. I guess investors are regaining confidence in the stock markets. Well, to the foreign scene, at least 8 people have died after a series of tornadoes ripped across Tennessee early on Tuesday. According to health officials, the incident left behind major structural damages, including in the capital of Nashville. Melissa Hawks of the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency reported that the statewide death toll was 8 at this time and that fatalities had occurred across 4 counties. The Nashville Fire Department says that it has responded to reports of approximately 40 structural collapses around the city. And let's now move to the sports scene. Nigeria Super Eagles are planning to boycott this month's 2020 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Sierra Leone following unpaid match bonuses. The doubleheader holds first at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba Delta State on March 27 before the reverse fixture in Freetown 4 days later. It was gathered that the Eagles are currently owed allowances and win bonuses for their 2021 AFCON qualifying matches against Benin Republic and Lesotho. The players get $5,000 for an away win and the equivalent in Naira for victory at home. And that's it on News Now. Many thanks for joining us. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.